We're talking all things Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and really kind of trying to figure out, what's going on behind the headlines with these two.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how much attention this is getting. I mean,
Yeah.
they're both coming off these huge career milestones, right? Swift with the Eras Tour, Kelce with the Super Bowl appearance, and it just seems like the public can't get enough of them as a couple.
Yeah, everyone's suddenly invested in their love life.
And speaking of investment, there are a few entertainment news articles that we've been digging into that suggest that things might be getting pretty serious between these two. The internet's buzzing with speculation about a possible engagement. But one little detail really caught my eye. In one of the articles that we have from the U.S. Sun, they actually quote a source, an inside source, saying that Kelce finds all this engagement talk very funny.
Mm.
So I don't know, what do you make of that? That's really interesting, isn't it? Like, on the one hand, it sounds like he's kind of brushing it off, like maybe even, finding the whole thing a bit absurd. But then again, you have to wonder, is that genuine amusement? Or is it, a calculated move to kind of throw everybody off the scent? We know that celebrities are known for their, carefully crafted PR strategies to manage their public image.
Yeah, you're so right. It could all be part of some bigger game that they're playing.
Right.
But then on the other hand, the U.S. Sun also talks about how Kelce and Swift have been spending their time together, watching movies, cooking, just like enjoying each other's presence. It almost sounds kind of normal, which is kind of surprising, when you think about the typical image of a high-profile celebrity couple.
That's a good point. You'd expect, lavish parties and paparazzi chases, but this is like a very different picture. It almost feels like a deliberate attempt to create a sense of normalcy. Maybe even, kind of push back against the public's expectations a little bit.
Totally. It's like they're saying, hey, we're just like any other couple, trying to enjoy our time. Of course, with their level of fame, nothing is ever truly private.
No, that's true. And that's, I think, where the PR strategy comes back in. Because even if they are genuinely seeking a low-key relationship, every detail that gets out is shaping that public narrative. So it's possible that they're trying to, kind of control the story a little bit, emphasizing the genuine connection maybe over the, the glitz and glamour.
It's all very strategic.
Yeah.
And speaking of strategy, the same article also mentions that they're planning a tropical vacation together, which echoes a trip that they took last year.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So that detail, I think, is worth paying attention to. It could be a coincidence, of course, but the timing is interesting, right? These reports of their vacation plans are coming out right as these engagement rumors are swirling. Makes you wonder, are these seemingly organic details actually part of some carefully orchestrated rollout?
You think so? Are we saying that Kelce and Swift are like masterminds of media manipulation?
Well, I don't know about masterminds, but I do think there's a certain level of awareness there, a recognition that every move they make, every photo that gets snapped, it's going to be analyzed, it's going to be interpreted. It's almost like they're playing chess with the public. And we're all just trying to decipher their next move.
Okay, so we're starting to see a pattern here. Lots of speculation, carefully timed leaks, and a couple that's playing their cards pretty close to the vest.
Yeah, and I think it's worth exploring the why behind all of this. Like, why go to such lengths to control the narrative?
Well, for starters, both Kelce and Swift have built these incredibly successful careers on, very carefully crafted public images.
Exactly. I mean, Kelce is known for being fun-loving, down-to-earth, both on and off the field. He's got this everyman appeal, even though he's obviously, at the top of his game.
And Taylor Swift, she's practically built an empire on her ability to connect with fans through her music, which often, delves into these very personal experiences of love and relationships.
Precisely. So for both of them, protecting their personal lives becomes really essential to protecting their brand. Because too much scrutiny, especially if a relationship goes sour, could potentially damage those very carefully curated images.
Right, so it's like their love life becomes another product to be managed, like almost like a business deal.
In a way, yeah. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of the reality of being a celebrity in today's world. They have to be strategic about how they present themselves, especially when it comes to something as, emotionally charged as a romantic relationship.
Right. But what about the fans in all this? Where do they fit in? Because it seems like they're really invested in this potential couple.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, fans play a huge role in all of this. They're the ones driving the speculation. They're devouring every detail. And ultimately, contributing to the success of both Kelce and Swift.
It's like they almost feel a sense of ownership over their idols' personal lives.
There's definitely a sense of intimacy there, right? I mean, it's fueled by social media and the constant stream of information. Fans feel like they're a part of the journey, so naturally they become invested in the outcome.
Which probably explains why those engagement rumors are spreading like wildfire.
Exactly. People want to see a happy ending, a fairy tale romance. It's a classic narrative that resonates with us, on a deep level.
And let's be honest, a Kelce Swift wedding would be the event of the century.
It would definitely dominate the news cycle. But speaking of weddings, there's one big question we haven't really addressed yet. If Kelce does decide to pop the question, how do you think he'll do it?
Ooh, that is the million-dollar question. I mean, on the one hand, you can definitely see them going for a very private, intimate proposal.
Right. That would definitely be in line with, their desire for privacy and control. It would be a statement about, prioritizing their relationship over public spectacle.
But on the other hand, they could also totally embrace the attention and go for a grand, over-the-top gesture.
Something that would just break the internet.
Exactly. Like imagine Kelce proposing during halftime at the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. That would be epic. Can you imagine the reaction?
The internet would implode. But seriously, though, I think it all comes down to their personalities and what they ultimately want out of this relationship.
I agree. If they're truly seeking a sense of normalcy, then a private proposal would make sense. But if they're comfortable with the spotlight and see their relationship as part of, their public persona, then a more public declaration wouldn't be out of the question.
It's a fascinating dilemma.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the unique pressures that come with being a celebrity couple in the digital age.
Right. Because ultimately it's their story to tell, but we get to watch it unfold and analyze it and maybe even learn a little something about ourselves in the process.
And speaking of learning, I think there's a crucial insight here that often gets overlooked in all the, gossip and speculation.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What are you thinking?
Well, it's easy to get caught up in the fantasy of celebrity romance. The idea that their lives are somehow more glamorous or exciting than our own.
Right, like they're living in a fairy tale.
Exactly. But I think when you strip away the fame and fortune, what we're really seeing are two individuals trying to navigate a relationship the same way we all do.
That's a really profound observation. You're right. It's easy to forget that celebrities are human beings with the same basic needs and desires as everyone else.
They crave connection and intimacy and a sense of belonging just like the rest of us.
And they face the same challenges, Communication issues, trust issues, the need to balance their personal lives with their professional ambitions.
Right. It's a powerful reminder that despite all the outward appearances, we're all more alike than we realize.
Absolutely. And perhaps that's the most valuable takeaway from all of this. Celebrity relationships, for all their glitz and glamour, ultimately reflect the universal experiences of love and heartbreak, and the search for connection that we all share.
But there's one more layer to this whole thing that we haven't really touched on.
Okay.
We've talked about how they're managing their public image. But what about the emotional side of all of this?
Yeah, the human element. It's easy to forget that amidst, all the speculation and analysis.
Totally. Like imagine the pressure they must be under, knowing that every move they make is being watched.
Oh, absolutely.
Dissected.
Living in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of scrutiny, it can't be easy on a relationship, especially one that's, relatively new.
Right. It makes you wonder, is it even possible for them to have a normal relationship? To experience those genuine moments of connection without the constant, fear of judgment or exposure?
That's a great question, and it's something that, a lot of celebrities struggle with. How do you maintain a sense of privacy and normalcy when your life is so public?
It's like they're constantly walking this tightrope between their personal desires and their public persona.
Right, and the stakes are high. Not only are they risking their emotional well-being, but their careers and reputations are on the line, too.
Which brings us back to that quote from the U.S. Sun about Kelce finding those engagement rumors funny. Maybe it's not just a PR tactic. Maybe it's also a coping mechanism.
I think you're onto something. Humor can be a really powerful way to kind of deflect attention and maintain a sense of control in a situation that feels overwhelming.
Yeah, it's like saying, hey, we're not taking this too seriously. We're just enjoying the ride.
Exactly. And that approach might actually be the healthiest way for them to navigate this kind of intense public scrutiny.
It's a good reminder that even celebrities are human, with the same vulnerabilities and insecurities as the rest of us.
Absolutely. They might be incredibly talented and successful, but they still crave love and connection and a sense of belonging.
And sometimes the best way to protect those things is to keep them out of the spotlight.
To create a space where they can just be themselves, without the pressure of public expectation.
So maybe, just maybe, the real story here isn't about the engagement rumors or the PR strategies.
Maybe it's about two people trying to find their way to each other.
Yeah.
Amidst the chaos of, celebrity life.
And maybe that's a story worth celebrating,
Right.
regardless of how it unfolds.
Beautifully said. I think that's the perfect note to leave our listener on.
Yeah, let's leave them with that sense of hope. And the reminder that even in the world of fame and fortune, love can still find a way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.